Welcome to TV on TV. I'm State Representative Tommy Vitolo. You're watching Brookline Interactive Group. Today is Thursday, January 16th, and we have a great show for you today. We have David Tierney, the Executive Director of the Brookline Music School, a great conversation we recorded just a few days ago about where the Brookline Music School was, where it is now, and where it will be someday in the future. All sorts of great programming. I encourage you to stay tuned. But first, as always, we begin with the news. The United States Bureau of Labor Statistics announced that the United States added 256,000 jobs in December and that the unemployment rate went down to 4.1%. These numbers compare favorably to historical averages and beat most forecasts. After a week of continuing fires, Los Angeles is again preparing for the high winds that threaten to make the situation worse. The wildfires have already killed at least 25 people and swept through 40,000 acres, destroying more than 12,300 structures. A new report by the Federal Transit Administration has found that transit ridership has increased by 17% from 2022 to 2023. The study shows that buses, subways, and light rail ridership have all increased following the pandemic. Last week, in a split decision, the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court ruled that the MBTA Communities Act is constitutional and enforceable. The court also ruled that the executive branch failed to promulgate the guidelines in accordance with state law. The Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities re-rolled out the guidelines Tuesday. The new regulations do not substantively change the zoning requirements, but they do extend the deadline in order to comply by 6 months. Governor Healy rolled out a plan yesterday to stabilize the MBTA and other transportation investments. The proposal includes $1.8 billion in new spending for operations and $6.2 billion for capital programs over the next decade. She plans to file these proposals in her upcoming fiscal year 2026 budget before handing it off to the legislature. More than 348,000 people are accessing health care coverage through the state's health insurance marketplace. After the expansion of connector care income eligibility, more than 98% of Massachusetts residents are now able to access health insurance. The town of Brookline announced the continuation of its water meter replacement project this week to include small-size meters. The goal is to upgrade water meters and the meter reading devices to improve customer service and reduce water loss. The town will be hosting its annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration on Monday, January 20th at 3 p.m. at the Coolidge Corner Theater. They will be showing the movie Rustin, a 2023 film about the life of civil rights activist Bynard Rustin. 4 teenagers were arrested and charged on Tuesday in connection to a shooting on January 11th at New Terrace Road that injured a Brookline teen. Folks, that's the news of the week. Stay tuned. On the flip side, we're going to have a wonderful conversation with David Tierney, the Executive Director of the Brookline Music School. Stay tuned right here on Brookline Interactive Group. And welcome back, folks. Here on TV this week, as promised, we have David Tierney, the Executive Director of the Brookline Music School. David, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Now, I know, music and the arts in general are so important in Brookline. Some folks are intimately familiar with the Brookline Music School. Many other folks have never even heard of the Brookline Music School. Before we get there, we want to learn a little bit more about you and your journey. So, in 4 minutes or less, tell us what you've been doing your whole life.
Sure. I'm a Massachusetts native, born, bred, did all my education here, and have only worked in the area. Grew up out in Littleton, went to UMass, and a few years into my professional career, after doing some college teaching, I ended up over at the River School in Weston, that I think a lot of Brookline residents may be familiar with, where I was the director of their music school conservatory. Did that for 26 years. And then 7 years ago, I got the idea in my head I could be a head of school. and I got a position in Cambridge as the headmaster at Cambridge Friends School, where I was for 5 years. And I decided it was time to get back into music. And about that time, 2 years ago, one of the board members of Brookline Music School, who was a teacher with me at Rivers, said, "Hey, Brookline's looking for a new executive director. Are you interested?" Thought about it for a while. First, I thought no. Then I thought, no, I really want to go back to this work, and threw my hat in the ring. And I was hired, and here I am. I'm entering a halfway point of my second year as executive director here at Brookline Music School.
And so you obviously have a personal background in music of some kind. You know, you play the oboe. What's the story? What tell us
No,
about your
I'm an
musical?
organist. I'm an organist and a conductor. I still hold a church position in Dedham at St. Paul's, where I have two choirs and a handbell choir, and I'm at the organ every Sunday. For a long time, I was an orchestra conductor, and actually, I have resumed that career here at Brookline, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So I've got my hand in the music making world as well as being an executive director.
So does this mean you attend mass with no shoes on?
Well, no, you have special shoes. Organists wear very special shoes, so I look good. I look good. It's a good show.
Love it, love it. But I do want to get into the music school itself, the Brookline Music
Sure.
School. Um, for folks who don't know, it's in this cute little building very near the new Lincoln School. It's kind of on the campus. So that gives you a little bit of a location. But tell us about the Brookline Music School, kind of from the beginnings to the extent that you can go back that far.
Sure. Well, the Brookline Music School, I understand, is Brookline's largest and oldest cultural institution. This year is our 100th anniversary. We were founded in 1924 by the then director of music in the Brookline schools, Dr. Zanzig. It was founded as an after-school music program for Brookline school children to get lessons on violin, oboe, flute, so they could play in band and orchestra. And over the years, it grew. And in the 60s, it had a big transformation where it expanded its program to open its doors to kids younger than school age, as well as adults. Added things like piano, guitar, instruments that aren't normally taught in schools. And in 1994, we were awarded the opportunity to be residents of this building. The Kennard House on Kennard Road was about to become vacant, and the Brookline School Committee offered it to the music school as a permanent home. Some significant renovations were made to be able to use it for lessons. There are 14 studios in this building, and we are still teaching in some rented classroom spaces in buildings throughout the school. We have about 900 students of all ages from as young as one. I think our oldest is 92. But primarily, we teach music lessons, chamber ensembles, jazz ensembles, music theory classes to kids in that 6 years old to 14-year-old range. That's sort of our wheelhouse.
And so, you know, you're approaching your 100th anniversary, and you've got this sort of little schoolhouse. Um, People are coming and going all the time. Um, Tell me about. I know you have private lessons. What does that look like? How do people avail themselves of them? What's that? I know that's a big part of what you do. So, what's that ecosystem like?
Yeah, that's about 75% of our business. And we have, of our 900 students, 650 to 75 are here for private lessons. Most are here every single day, every single week, rather, weekly lessons, as short as 30 minutes, with the longest being a 60-minute lesson. And again, a good portion of our private lessons, and by good portion, I mean maybe 20%, are adults, people who've come back to music as adults, or people who have picking up music finally for the first time in their life. Um, we do support the public school music program. We run things like master classes and mock auditions for Brookline Music School music students in the Brookline schools. We work closely with Kenny Kozal and the music teachers in the Brookline public schools to support what they need, whether that's offering financial aid so kids who can't otherwise have access to lessons can take lessons, or making sure kids who play an instrument that maybe the Brookline schools don't have someone that teaches, like an oboe or a bassoon teacher, can have those lessons here.
Now, this question is really on behalf of my wife. Uh,
Okay.
any thought on a marching band? When is Brookline going to get a good old fashioned marching band?
Well, we're not there yet, but something that just happened this past week. We were approached about starting an adult community orchestra that didn't fit the model of your typical community like Brookline Symphony or Boston Civic or others. Uh, There was one that was modeled more for those older students, adults, who aren't really interested in that intense late evening rehearsal and wanted something during the day. And so we put together a chamber orchestra. We had our first rehearsal this past Tuesday, and we're off and running with nearly 30 people right off the bat. So we'll start from there. I didn't realize there was such an interest. It's a unique niche for us, for anybody. I don't think anybody across the country is offering a daytime community orchestra in the middle of the work week. But we've gotten off to a very successful start. I see that bands, maybe not marching band, I'm not sure the neighbors would appreciate our rehearsal on Kennard Road, but concert bands, more jazz bands, chamber music, you name it, for all ages are definitely in our future.
My wife played marching band both in high school and at North Carolina State University, where we both
Huh?
attended college. And of course, big Southern football, 400 kids in the marching band just belting it out. Um,
I was the
Maybe
drum
someday in
major in my high
Brookline
school
too.
marching band in Littleton. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a way of life for musicians for the fall football season. That's for sure.
That's right. And there's also like a strong tradition of drumming, and that can cross different cultures. So there's a lot there, but probably not for Brookline anytime soon. I know that the music school does have a lot of summer programs, and that those offerings have expanded.
Hmm.
And so, particularly for parents of school age kids, like figuring out what the heck our kids are doing all summer is a really complicated thing. And you all have some answers.
We do, up until this past summer, summer of 2024, our summer programming was primarily focused on younger kids who maybe aren't even in school yet. And this past summer, we launched three new programs really very successfully. A chamber music festival, which was for kids who play violin, piano, classical instruments, that ran for 8 days in June and July. In early August, we had a Broadway at Brookline Week for singers. And at the end of this August, we had a jazz lab, again, focusing on kids, 9, 10 years old up through high school. Uh, One of the great things about this program, though, is we got some funding from a number of different organizations in Brookline and in the state. They gave us money to make these programs very much accessible, working with the public schools again for kids who do not normally have the opportunity or the resources to pay for summer program. So we've been very fortunate to see some significant support that allows us to work with Kenny and the other music teachers in Brookline to identify the kids who really would benefit and need a summer experience and otherwise would never have it. And it doesn't cost them a dime. And that's going to continue again summer 2025. Our funding has been renewed. And in one case of one grantor, even increased by 100%. They doubled. So we're really excited to be able to sink our teeth further into that and open this program up to more kids. I would ideally love to see 100 or 150 kids throughout the summer doing these programs.
And these are week-long programs.
Most of them are week-long ones. The classical chamber music festival actually runs 8 days. It starts the day after school gets out and runs up to the July 4th weekend. A little bit more intensive, a lot of fun though.
But also a really nice one, because that's a tough time for parents to find
It
something,
is.
because it's like you don't know when school's going to end. Fourth of July is coming up.
Yep.
So that's great. And I would encourage you, as a parent of a fourth grader and an eighth grader who's like lived this, like be thinking about opportunities. Even consider the 1 day middle of the school year holidays, right? MLK Day is coming up on January 20th, for example. There's a
Yeah.
great program in the Coolidge Corner Theater for MLK Day for 2 hours or an hour and a half, but plenty of people still have to go to work on those days and are looking for 1 day opportunities. So be thinking about that.
It's a good
It's
point.
part of managing a community where it's very common for all parents in the household to work, sometimes work a lot of hours, and they want their kids doing something productive and safe and enriching. And certainly you would meet all of those categories. Um, I I've seen the word performathon associated with the music school. I could only guess. Tell us about performathons.
Performathon's one of our major fundraisers every year. And this is the one fundraising event that our students make happen. And what we do, we have the malls at Chestnut Hill, the shops at Chestnut Hill offer us their hallway where they have a beautiful grand piano, and we give a musical marathon of performances, one student after another, for as long as the day as we can fill. And we're expecting this year to have at least 100 kids doing that. And much like running a marathon or any kind of walkathon or something like that, kids go out and get pledges for their performance. This year, we're doing a practice challenge where kids are committing to practicing X number of days in the month leading up to the performance, and then they give their performance and are getting pledges from families, friends, neighbors for that time and that commitment. Our goal this year is to raise $10,000, and that money goes exclusively towards financial aid for those who need assistance accessing music programs like ours.
And we've mentioned it once or twice. We're going to keep mentioning it. The Brookline Music School, it has a relationship with the public schools of Brookline, but you are not wholly funded as a town agency. In fact, you're a nonprofit, right?
We are an independent nonprofit with our own IRS designation. We receive no funds from the town of Brookline. Everything we do, we raise money for either via tuition, but no organization can charge a tuition that truly meets the cost of what it takes to run. So we have our own annual fund. We do raise money with things like Performathon, and any other events and opportunities for grants or gifts that we can get are part of our work.
And I can say, having served on the Joint Committee on Tourism, Arts, and Cultural Development in the House of Representatives for 6 years, um, many people in the public have this inadvertent bad habit of not wanting to pay for art and not wanting to pay artists. And we need to do that, right?
We do.
If it has value to society, it ought to be paid. And that includes the music teachers, right? That includes everyone involved with this program. If we're going to have it, we've got to fund it. And it sounds like your model is some combination of soliciting grants for particular programs, perhaps, and then also getting out there and humping it and raising some money.
Yeah, and there's a value to society, but there's also this undervalued. How do I put this? What the study of music offers to kids is unmatched in anything else they have access to. It doesn't happen in schools. It doesn't happen in sports. It's unique. It's not magical. Forget the Mozart effect from that book a few years ago. The process of studying music exercises your brain and develops kids in a social, emotional, and intellectual way that is unparalleled anywhere. I mean, think of all the professional people in your life: doctors, lawyers, engineers, teachers. The largest common denominator, and I did this study years ago, is that they've all had music in their background. It is so important that the kids have access to this. And another misconception people have is that music schools are elitist. Where for kids who want to go on and major in music. Absolutely not. We are open to anybody who wants to do this program. And regardless of how good you get, how far you go, just exercising your brain in music is going to make you successful in anything else you do in life. Guarantee. Write it down, save this video, come back to me in 10 years and prove me wrong.
Well, and also, everybody loves that person who can sit down behind a piano and play a Billy Joel song. That's not like the most magical musical thing, right? I don't know how to do it, but I'm sure it's not the same as being in an orchestra playing some complex symphony.
Sure.
But it's fun and it brings people together. And playing music is one way that people come together, different backgrounds, different experiences, but they can share that thing. And as someone who does not play an instrument, I've played around with a harmonic. I can almost bend a note, but not quite. I still respect that it's there. My wife is a musician. My kids like to play music. I love it when my daughter is playing around on the piano and just experimenting. And I'm sure if it was any other child, it would bug the heck out of me. But when it's your own kid, you hear the beauty in there. And I love that. Where was I going with all of this? I don't even know. What was I going to ask? I had a question lined up, but now I've forgotten. Oh, I got it. I know that the faculty have a series of maybe small performances or publicly available performances. And that kind of is like from the beginning of fall to the end of spring, right? That's like an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the Faculty Artist Series.
Well, one of the agreements we have with the town that allows us the use of this building is that we have to give back music to the community. And one of the many things we do is this faculty honor series. So we, the music school, gives our faculty a small stipend to play concerts. And we've been using this year Hunneman Hall in Brookline Village Library, which is a fantastic little concert hall. And we, because it's our 100th anniversary this year, we doubled the number of concerts. So we have a concert there every month. They're free. They're usually Sunday afternoons about 2 o'clock. A variety of music: classical, jazz, folk, vocal, instrumental, piano. And it's a great opportunity for our faculty to perform and sort of demonstrate to the community, but also to their students. Hey, I'm walking the walk, and not only just talking the talk. I can play. I get out there and do it. Um, and beyond that, we the faculty also go out to some of the local senior centers and assisted living homes and do concerts there as well. So we've probably got about 40 or 50 faculty concerts out in the Brookline community over the course of the year, and primarily September to June. But a lot of the senior living and activity centers will have some concerts in the summer as well. It's a
And
busy place.
just for the viewers, January 26th at Hunneman Hall is East meets West, featuring Wright, Ivanova, and Jarkova on piano
Yep.
and violin, respectively. February 23rd is Ravel Revisited, 150th anniversary tribute. March 30th is Brahms and the Schumanns. Nordic and Celtic Connections on April 27th, and a tribute to Django Reinhardt on May 18th. All of those at 2 o'clock. All of those at Hunneman Hall. All of those free admission. Something for everybody.
Yeah, the April concert's back here in Kennard House due to a scheduling conflict in Hunneman Hall. But otherwise, you had that exactly right. Well done.
Love it. Love it. You know, the joy of pulling up the webpage. By the way, that webpage is bmsmusic.org, Brookline Music School, bmsmusic.org. There's all kinds of things on there. Course offerings, enrollment registration, about us, giving and fundraising, which we talked about a little bit, but I do want to come back to. We've only got about 5 minutes left. We sort of snuck in. You're at 100th anniversary.
Yep.
That's a pretty special moment in time, and I think worthy of a big birthday party. So, what do you have planned?
Well, we've been doing a number of concerts and events throughout the year. We've got two left. On March 22nd in Hunneman Hall, we're doing a collaborative concert with the Brookline School's fifth grade art kids. We're doing Sasson's Carnival of the Animals. In each school, the fifth grade class has drawn pictures of the different animals that we'll be projecting on the screen as the music is played. And just so your audience knows, you, Tommy, are the narrator for that event. So a real special event. There's actually three performances so we can accommodate the audience. And then on April 27th at WBUR City Space, we're having our 100th anniversary gala. One of our alumni, Emmy Ferguson, is an internationally recognized flutist working out of New York. She's coming back to play for us and talk a bit. And we've got a great event there. And we'll be unveiling our plans for the next 100 years at that event. So you don't want to miss it, because if you want to know what we're going to be up to next, you're going to see a big splash of a demonstration of our ambitions then.
Now, how do folks get tickets?
Tickets aren't available yet, but they'll be available through the website right around the time February public school vacation starts. You can go on our website, just click on the gala, the 100th anniversary tab, and it'll be happy to set you up. And we'd love to see you. It's going to be a spectacular event. And City Space is a great place. The one limitation is we can only have 250 people. So if you're thinking of going, pay attention to the website and grab those tickets before they're gone.
Yeah, get those tickets. It's certainly on my calendar. Um, Easy to get to. Parking, it's
Right
Northbrook.
across the street is the Aganis hockey rink with the parking. So easy
Perfect.
parking too. It couldn't be better. And the food will be spectacular.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to it. Circling back to the narration, I only agreed to narrate because I would not have to write anything.
That's correct. I've got it all
I'm
set
happy to
for you.
read what someone else comes up with, but maybe as I don't know that I have faith in myself to write anything worthy of a performance of the Brookline Music School.
Oh, you'll be fine. That'd be great. It'll be a lot of fun. And
So,
the art looks spectacular. The kids are so creative. Oh man, it's great.
love it. I love it. So we're really looking forward to that. Anything else going on with the location, with the building? Something else coming up? What else is up your sleeves?
Well, we get a lot of things, a lot of irons in the fire. We've the demand for lessons and programs is enormous, so we're looking at how we can accommodate that. We're spending a lot of time really talking about how we elevate what we do. We draw kids from beyond Brookline too, which is great. I love the idea of people coming to Brookline to get a great music education. And so we're looking at being able to handle that capacity. As I mentioned earlier, developing more ensemble programs for kids and adults because everybody wants to play together and community is what it's all about. And Brookline is such a fabulous place. The arts vibe here is so strong. There are great organizations and there are great people. We just want to do the best we can for this community.
Now, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was in Zaftig's and I saw a baby with a Brookline Music School bib. And I have also seen people with Brookline Music School sweatshirts. So there's swag somewhere. How do people
Again,
find the swag?
on the website, there's a link to our 100th anniversary store. You can get anything you want from golf balls to dog food dishes. So go on. We get a small price, a piece of the price, and you'll have a nice piece of either furniture, equipment, or outfit to wear.
And if you're a messy eater, you want to get that bib and then show up to GBH on the galas, to protect your tux.
And ready to go. You can have anything you want to eat. You don't have to worry about spilling.
That's perfect. David, I want to thank you for coming on TV, and thank you for the work you do, educating people of all ages, keeping the different parts of their brain working. In an era where it's a lot easier to just pull out your phone and watch YouTube, keeping people engaged in the community, keeping people engaged in this incredibly old and important tradition of making music, not just listening to it, but creating it. All these things that align with our community values. And you and the Brookline Music School have collectively been doing it for 100 years.
You're absolutely right. And music is the antidote to the isolation that you can fall into with technology. There's great music technology, but making music is a social skill. So we're here. Come on down and see us.
Well, folks, I'm going to remind you once again of the website. It's www.bmsmusic.org. Keep your eyes open on that website. Right around February school vacation, you're going to find the opportunity for the gala. I look forward to seeing you there. And definitely check out the website and figure out if BMS Music has something that piques your interest. If you're a newcomer or you haven't pulled that trombone out for 30 years or anything in between, I have no doubt that the Brookline Music School has something that works for you. Again, David, thanks for coming on the show, folks. Thanks for watching Brookline Interactive Group. And I'm Tommy Vitolo. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks so much, Tommy. Appreciate it.